Welcome back. Iceland is known for its glaciers and northern lights, but it is also famous for its social model. It is often called the world's most gender equal country. For 14 years in a row, Iceland has topped the World Economic Forum's global gender gap rankings. It is the only country to have closed more than 90% of its gap. But there's trouble brewing in this feminist paradise. Women of Iceland on Tuesday went on a strike. They took to the streets, protesting inequality, a pay gap, and gender-based violence. And to everyone's surprise, the protest was also joined by the nation's Prime Minister on your screens, Katrín Páztía. The strike was spearheaded by labor unions, where women, including the Prime Minister, refused all kinds of work, paid and unpaid, including household chores and looking after children. This is the largest women's strike in over 5 decades in the country, and also the biggest protest in Iceland's history, where nearly 100,000 women participated in this protest. Imagine that. All the women in Iceland striking work, whether it was in offices, in hospitals, in schools, or in their homes. Something like this was last seen in 1975, when women took to streets and changed Iceland's gender history. After the stir, later in 1976, Iceland passed a law granting equal rights irrespective of gender. Finnborg Salome is one of the organizers of this strike. She's a member of the BSRB as well, and joins me on the show to help our viewers understand why the women in Iceland, some of the most empowered women in the world, had to go on strike. Thank you very much, first of all, Finnborg, for joining us here on Mirror Now. Can I start by asking you, your country is known as a feminist haven. Why is it then that the women in your country felt compelled to go on a strike, demanding equal rights?
Well, that's true. We've been fighting for equality for more than a century here in Iceland, for gender equality. However, there's still a long way ahead here in Iceland. And we can see that what we were striking for yesterday was that we were striking for the recognition of the value that women bring to society in terms of paid labor, which is highly unrecognized when it comes to pay. For example, how women-dominated sectors, they are very underpaid compared to male-dominated sectors. We were also fighting or striking against gender-based and sexual violence. 40% of women in Iceland have experienced sexual violence in their lifetime. So this is a pandemic that we think the government, the whole society, needs to address ASAP.
Finnborg, we are seeing some numbers on our screens right now. As far as pay parity is concerned between genders, the gap in Ireland is just a little over 10%, when the global average is well over 30%. Can I then ask you what you make of your Prime Minister deciding to join this strike?
Yeah, that's true. We're moving beyond the equal pay for equal hour. We're moving beyond that, and we're looking at the income gap that we see between the genders. Here in Iceland, it's 21%, the difference between the income from work that men get compared to women get on average. And that reflects the society we live in, that women are in sectors that are less paid than men. Women are more likely to be doing part-time work to take care of children, to take care of the home, this undervalued and unpaid domestic work that is highly important to keep the society running. So what we are demanding here is that we, first and foremost, we put up the women's sectors, we pay them better. This is a lot of government jobs, for example, working at hospitals, working in kindergartens, working in schools, teachers, nurses, etc. These sectors are very underpaid compared to the male-dominated sector. So we need to reevaluate that and acknowledge the worth that they are giving to society. that they are, by their work, and they are contributing to society. Regarding the unpaid work that women are shouldering here in Iceland, we think it's time that men, equally as women, take care of that burden. We're talking about taking care of the children. We have equal parental leave here in Iceland for 6 months for each parent, and we encourage that men should take their part in that. And then also we have a gap between the kindergarten and the parental leave, and men should share that responsibility with women. So we're demanding full equality, full participation, and equal opportunities. Having a prime minister who is a woman, it's the second woman who served that role here in Iceland. It's very important that she took the day off. And we have very good political participation, but as I mentioned, that only applies to certain groups of women. The society here is highly segregated when it comes to nationality, if you're foreign-born or Icelandic-born, ability, disability, if you're non-binary or a binary gender, etc. So all these intersecting factors affect the position we have in society, and the fight is not there. It's not there yet. We have to, we want equality for all women and for all non-binary people.
Okay, so you're aiming at 100%, and honestly, that's the only thing any right-minded person or country should aim for. I understand that. But you've just mentioned something here which will be a bit of a surprise for our viewers. So can you help our viewers here in India understand how a highly literate, developed, enlightened society like yours has such high degrees of sexual violence against women?
Well, it's because we live in a very gendered society. We live in a society, we have very high masculine ideas and what is to be a woman, like femininity and masculinity. And we still have these power dimensions that we see in every country in the world. Of course, the manifestations might be different, but we still have that men are in more privileged position here in Iceland, and it's more visible when it comes to violence. We have a new report showing that 1 in every 6 girls in 10th grade, that means they're 15 years old, have experienced sexual violence, and by their peer. So we see that there is still some power dimensions, some violence there that needs to be addressed, and it's a cultural thing, and we need comprehensive actions from the government, from the labor market, from the university where I work, from the schools, education system, and the society as a whole.
My last question to you, how would you react to some of the snide remarks that have come about for your strike yesterday, where women in your country, all of them struck work, whether it was at home or out in offices, hospitals, schools, etc. The remark was, this is just a symbolic strike. Don't read too much into it. How do you react to that?
It was a very important symbolic strike, but what I have learned, this is the 7th strike that we've organized since 1975, is that by bringing all these women and now bring all these non-binary people together to call for actions, this has, in the past, has led to action being taken. We're discussing this now. We're discussing it in every workplace. We're discussing it at home. Women are fighting for equality and equal responsibilities within their homes. We're demanding action from the government, from the labor market. So in my opinion, this is just a start from some big things ahead. So that's at least what history has showed us, and I firmly believe that this is the case now.
Finnborg, thank you so much for joining us and helping our viewers understand why the women of Iceland struck work yesterday. More importantly, a small nation like Iceland really showing the way to the world, as it were. We leave it there for the moment. Finnborg Salome, thank you very much for joining us here on the broadcast. With that,